All right, now that we've created our second function, let's talk about creating multiple functions here. Now, you'll notice that in our driving function, we have straight code, and then we also call upon a function. It's usually what you typically see in coding is you normally see your driving function um, has as little code as possible. So you want your driving function to be nice and clean and organized. And so a lot of times as a programmer, you're just going to call upon functions within your driving function. You're not going to have this other code here. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to create multiple functions, but those functions are only going to be called in hello into our driving function, and that's the only thing that's going to be in our driving function is the names of other functions. All right, so let's do this. You can copy and paste, but I will say WonderFL is a little tricky. So if you do make any mistakes, you can always hit Command Z to undo or Control Z to undo if you're on your Chromebook. Also make sure that it's saving. Sometimes it doesn't always do that, so please make sure it does that. It'll say auto save down here because I'd hate to have you lose anything. Okay, so let's create a new function. In fact, first let's get rid of, or let's at least copy this top part here. So I'm going to highlight it and hit Command C to copy, and then I'm going to come down here. And in fact, it looks like I might have to refresh my screen here. So I'm going to refresh. Because I just want to make sure I'm connected to that server. So I want to just make sure those things are running. Okay, so I'm going to hit copy. And I'm going to come down here. And I'm going to be outside of public function Happy Kitty. So I got to make sure that I'm outside that closing curly bracket for Happy Kitty. So again, they're kind of all paired. We got the curly brackets all are paired together. So this opening curly bracket goes with this closing one. And then again, you're always going to have two remaining at the very end, one to close the class and one to close the package. All right. So public. Right. I like it nicely. Okay. Public function. Happy Kitty. You can call it anything you want. I'm just going to say Happy Kitty 2. Opening, closing paren, colon, the word void, curly bracket. Opening curly bracket, hit return, and now you're with inside. And I am going to copy, Command C, and I'm going to paste that information in there. And I'm going to get rid of it up here. Now you notice my code. I have 3 functions. I have my driving function called hello, and then I have 2 other functions called Happy Kitty and Happy Kitty 2. However, you'll notice that right now only Happy Kitty is being called upon, so only Bauman should show up. So in order to get Hello World to show up again, I need to call Happy Kitty 2 inside our driving function. So I'm going to go into my driving function, and I'm going to call upon Happy Kitty 2. Opening and closing paren, and oops, and then a semicolon. It's going to compile, and now I have both of them. All right, so let's create another function. So again, I'm going to go after that closing curly bracket of Happy Kitty 2, hit return a couple times, do a public function. You can call this anything that you want. You could call it Happy Kitty 3, opening, closing paren, or colon, and then void, and then opening curly bracket and hit return. I'm going to create a new variable. So it could be anything you want. You could do the letter T and then the number 2. And it's going to be text field. So colon text field equals new text field, open and closing paren, semicolon. I'm going to call upon that variable T2. It's going to be text equals quotation marks. I might write program or my program. Now you can't write a huge long sentence. It's only usually 14 characters. So just be aware of that. I'll just cut it off if it's too long. So my program, closing quotation mark, semicolon. I'm going to pick a location. So now I want words to be in all 4 corners. So I'm going to hit return T2 dot X equals, and let's put it at the bottom left. So it's going to be 0. And then the Y value is going to be T2 dot Y equals 400. I can add color T2 dot text color equals 0x, and I'm going to find a hex code here. Maybe yellow. I'm going to copy that. Semicolon, add child. Remember there's a capital C in add child, opening paren, and then I'm going to call upon that variable for my program, T2. Close that out with a closing paren, semicolon. And then I have one more step. I've got to call upon Happy Kitty 3. So I'm going to go up here to my driving function and add call upon Happy Kitty. Now the reason why we are creating so many functions is because, at least for this example, you want to know what's working and what's not. By having these separate functions, I can see, oh, Happy Kitty's showing up. So Bauman is showing up. Happy Kitty 2. If Hello World's showing up, I know that's working. If Happy Kitty 3, if for some reason my program wasn't showing up, the word my program wasn't showing up, I would know that Happy Kitty 3 function, something was wrong with it. And in fact, I can tell, hey, I'm not really liking this yellow color. It's really hard to see. So maybe I'm going to go back and change the color. And I know exactly where Happy Kitty 3 is. I just find that function. I don't have to guess what Happy Kitty 3 is too much because it has to deal with the word my program, and now it shows up. And that's why we use multiple functions. So we can call upon them and we know exactly what section of our code, what block, what function isn't working. So that's what's really nice about having multiple functions. All right. Another thing I've noticed, just make sure you can tighten up some of your spacing, but always make sure that your curly brackets correspond. So you're always going to have 2 closing curly brackets way at the end, because the last one closes the package. The second to last one closes the class. And then all your functions, you always need an opening and closing curly bracket. So they should be paired up. So this one should have an opening one. That one should have a closing one. Opening, closing. Oh, if I scroll up here. Opening, closing, opening, closing, opening, closing, all the way up to our driving function, opening, closing. So all our functions are like blocks of information that we just call upon in our driving function. So let's go ahead and do that last one. Go at the bottom. Make sure I have 2 closing curly brackets at the very end, no more. And then I'm going to create my last public function. Public function, Happy Kitty And you could call them anything you want. Just make sure you know what you're naming your functions. Again, make sure you're not using spaces in your functions. And any really crazy special characters. Special characters aren't always recognized. So just stick with, if you're going to name things, stick with numbers and letters. Okay. Because this is not our driving function, we need colon void, opening curly bracket, and when I hit return, it automatically creates a closing curly bracket for the function that I'm working on currently. I need to declare a new variable. Do not have the same variable names. So you'll notice that in my program, I have, for every function, I have declared a new variable name. So please make sure you do that. var, I can call it Bob if I want. It's a text field, so colon text field equals new text field, opening closing parenthesis, semicolon, hit return. Bob is going to be text, so Bob period text equals, and this is what it's going to be. I might put right corner. You can put anything you want. Just don't make it a super long sentence. Closing quotation mark, semicolon. And now I'm going to place Bob, or the word, oops, I forgot right corner. See? Bob is going to be located on the x-axis, 400 pixels to the right. And then Bob is also going to be down on the y-axis, 400 pixels, so 400, semicolon, and I need to add child. So add Bob to the screen. So inside the opening and closing paren, you're going to have Bob, closing paren, semicolon, and now it should compile. But I didn't call upon Happy Kitty, so I'm going to have to go back up to my driving function. And Happy Kitty. Now, your driving function does read tap down, so it reads the first command, and then the second, third, and fourth. So it's going to first read Happy Kitty, then Happy Kitty 2, Happy Kitty 3, Happy Kitty 4. It just seems like it does it. It will just run it really fast. So it will seem like it does everything, all those commands all at one time. And now you have 4 words or sentences or text at all 4 corners. All right, and then you can save. And you should be all set. And you can finish editing.